It's another day and we're happy to say we're single and we're healthy and we love it that way. Our melanin is popping in the morning glow, and we're about to tell you how the story goes.
Oh, hell nah.
Man, it's freezing out here.
Okay, I be with my bestie. We got the fresh tea, so tune in every Tuesday. Don't be messy. Elevate your mind, don't let none get you down. Cause this is Hot Thoughts. We covered the higher ground.
Hey guys, what's going on? We are back with another High Thoughts episode. It is your girl Leah, and I am joined by a very special co-host, my girl of like, I don't know, maybe like 12 years or so, who knows? We've been down since fam youth. My girl Dayna Laureano.
Hey. Hey girl.
What's up?
We're old now. We're super old.
Girl, like me saying 12, I probably shouldn't have said that, right? It's just age stuff.
Okay.
She said maybe not. It's okay. In this podcast, they know we're in our 30s. Okay? So get over it. Anyway, thank you so much for doing this, by the way. This was like literally I asked Dayna like maybe yesterday or 2 days ago. It was like, hey, do you have time? Yeah. Do you have a second? Do you have time to do this? And of course, being the great friend she is, yeah, she said yes. So I love it, and I really appreciate you today. Let me tell you, and every day, of course, but you know, today especially. So yes, let me let Dayna introduce herself a little bit, tell you guys a little bit more about her. Let them know where you're from, Dayna. Let them know what you do. You know, we have listeners who, you know, might want to tap into your business.
Thank you. Well, again, my name is Dayna Laureano, and I'm actually from New York. Moved to Florida, lived in Florida since high school on, and then moved to Tallahassee, went to FAMU, studied journalism. And very recently, the last couple of years have been like full time in my own marketing business. So right now I do creative strategy and marketing and design. Really for business owners who like have their business, but they're just like, I know I need to be on social. I don't know what to do. I just know I want to get help. So that's really who I like working with, is like people who know they need the help. But yeah, looking back though, it just like makes sense because this is the happiest I've ever been in my life. I've always loved design. I've always loved writing and like, so I'm just happy that I'm sticking to it because I found something that's actually working, and I'm gonna like love what I'm doing.
No, I think what you're doing is so perfect for you as well, because I remember being back in our apartment at the Courtyard, and you were always like drawing something or making a magazine. I remember like you really loved art, and you like aesthetics. Let me say that you've always been into like how things look. I remember your room was very much like that. Like I remember we were both. I think something that bonded us is we both kind of like doing our nails. So I remember you used to be like, no, Leah, like I have to go do my nails. Like I don't like we can't make it if I don't do my nails. And I'm like, I feel you. So
right.
so I totally get it. But I think what you're doing now, you know, as far as like the branding and stuff that you do, is so perfect. Like you're so in your lane, and you can see it. Like you look happier, you're shining, you're glowing. Like it's perfect. I love it.
I love it. I wish this for everybody, honestly. But yes, we're here. I'm thankful.
Yay!
It's not always easy. It is not always easy, but because that's the truth. Gotta add that in there. It's not always easy. It's probably the hardest thing I've ever had to do. But it was an easy transition for me too. I don't know if we can step into this now. But like I had an office manager position before I did this. So I got to a point where I started hating my job, and I just decided, okay, if I don't like my job or don't want to stay here, let me think of like how they're running the company, who they're meeting with, like, what are they talking about? And I switched my mindset to say, okay, if I want to lose 9 to 5, I need to do it with a purpose. So yeah, I would just advise anybody that if you want to switch and you don't like what you're doing, or you want to like work for yourself, start thinking of like where you're working and analyzing how they're running that business and how you can just take the basics and help yourself get organized. So that helped a lot.
That's awesome. No, I love that advice. Um, can you share with us maybe like what are the top three hardest things that you deal with like in your daily just like business?
From where I came from, before my other job, I was like extremely disorganized. So that taught me a lot how to organize myself. And then I was able to switch it into this business. So for me, top three things that are most difficult on a day to day. One would have to be tasking out my day and like learning how to be a project manager too, really, because you need something to be done at a certain time by a certain date for it to be completed. So writing out what I need to do, prioritizing what I need to do would be top two. And really just trying to think of who that client is. Since I'm working in marketing, I have to create content that's going to, like we talked about earlier before this, like we need to create content that's going to evoke somebody to want to buy whatever it is that you're selling. So trying to put myself in the position of a buyer is like top three too. It's
Right.
challenging, but it's fun.
No, I love that. I love that because I think a lot of people think, you know, just because you have a business, like, oh, I have a business, I'm a boss. It's like, but what are you doing? And like, there's so many other things that are involved in running a business, and especially when you are the HR, the CEO, the accountant, like you're everything.
Yeah.
Um,
You're the like face to face, you're the
yeah,
organizer, you're the office manager, you're the project manager, you're the event planner, everything. You're the sales team, you're
everything.
the marketing team, design team. Let's all have a meeting and
Seriously,
all in one.
there's an Instagram reel that I saw. I'll have to send it to you. You'll want to probably make a
Okay.
reel to this, and it's literally like this girl saying that, right? Like she starts with, um, like, oh, my day is so good, and then like all of a sudden she gets hit with like, but I'm the HR and I'm the manager and I'm the accountant and I'm the. It's like so funny. I'll have to send it to you.
Yeah, yeah.
But no, it's definitely very tough, and I think you know that's why consistency matters. You know, at the end of the day, like you can be you can be amazing at your job, but like if you're not consistent, you know what I mean? Like it's going nowhere. Like
It's
because
not gonna go anywhere.
seriously, because it's just like practice. Like everything you do is practice. From LeBron James, if he doesn't practice every day, he is not going to be that top tier athlete. You know what I mean? Like even if a drummer doesn't practice every day, they're not going to be a great drummer. If a business person does not practice their business every day, you are not going to be able to apply like anything, you know what I'm saying, to your day to day. So,
And only you know what it
yeah,
is that you're doing too. And like we can only hold ourselves accountable. Because like you could be not on social media at all and be super successful at what you're doing. But then you could be on social media and not be successful at what you're doing. Or you could
hmm
have a good balance of both, prioritizing. Or maybe behind the scenes you're hiring somebody to do your social media while you're running your business. Like that's a that's something that people don't see either. But like you know how hard you're working, and at the end of the day, nobody's gonna change it if you don't. So that's like the
no,
hardest thing, though. Like, can I say this?
go
I was
ahead.
gonna ask you a question. Like, I think for me, the hardest thing to transition from like actually getting things done is having to observe where you are in that moment and just like, okay, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing right? Because if I want to go there and I'm here, I have to see where I'm at right here in order to like make that shit grow.
Yep.
Um, so I guess my question is for you. What do you think was a hard thing that you had to um, ask yourself, I'd say, in order to like elevate and like think differently about business and like want to like actually put your confidence in yourself to like do that? I want to ask you a question as far as like in business and life, like what was like the hardest thing that you had to ask yourself or face yourself with, as far as like maybe a simpler way of asking this is like what habits did you have to change that you noticed that you were doing or not doing that helped you to get where you are now and like think
I
what you
think
do.
I think one of the biggest things for me sometimes is just like procrastination. It's literally been my thing since, I don't know, maybe I was in high school or something. But you know, obviously doing your own thing, like working for yourself, being a freelancer, um, you you really can't procrastinate on shit. Like, you know what I'm trying to say, especially when you have deadlines. So I know for me it was really taking a look at why I'm procrastinating. Why am I being lazy? Because at the end of the day, it really was just laziness and me having fear. Like, I know one time I was working on somebody's project and I was like, I could just pay somebody to do this. And I was like, why am I being lazy? Why would I want to lose money to pay somebody to do something that I already know how to do? So instead of doing that, I did it myself. And the project came out great and the person loved it. And you know what I mean? Um, but yeah, I mean, and like I said, a lot of it is just having discipline. Like, and being consistent. Like those, like I had to look at all those things. And another thing for me, I will say, is I'm still learning today. And you even pointed it out to me when you were here in LA. Was just like me listening to other people sometimes, because sometimes I can get very defensive when someone is coming at me, especially when I don't understand why they're coming at me, or they're like, because you know, in business sometimes things can get a little messy or whatever, and they can get a little, what is just a lot of miscommunications that can happen. So for me, it was about listening to like really what they were saying to me, because I know that my intentions are always good, and I know that I'm not trying to do anything that is harmful to my team or anything like. So yeah, really just listening to what the person is saying and being like, okay, that's how you feel. Um, but can I say something that I think a lot of people do, and I try not to do it, but having expectations of people that you have set. You know what I mean? Like, it's really hard to work with someone and you have certain expectations of how you believe they should work. Everyone works so differently. You know what I mean? And for me, um, I know that's something else that I've had to just wake up to. You know, like you cannot have these expectations of someone that you think they should do this. You know what I mean? I don't even know if that makes sense of what I'm saying, but yeah, I don't know. There's a lot, Dayna. Girl, let me tell you. Like, there's a lot. Like, you know, even when I do an event, like I'm always, you know, it's I remember one of the last events I did, it was like we procrastinated a lot before we got that thing done. You know what I mean? Like, we could have been working on it 3 months prior, and we decided to work on it like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I don't know. We just were really, we could have done more, and we could have done better with it, if we had jumped on it a little sooner. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I don't even know if I answered your question, Dayna, but
It,
it's a
it
lot.
kind of ties into what I said. Like one of the top three hardest things for me to do in business is like prioritizing what needs to get done, and that's like part of what you said. Like, to be consistent, you have to write out exactly. Like, I can't just say, okay, I need to make this type of post for somebody. I have to say,
Right.
okay, well, if this post needs to be done, what do I need to get before then? How do I write that out? Like, what's the theme for this week? Like, what is that? And like organize everything. But
Hmm.
there's so much that comes into it, like being a freelancer, because more or less that's what it is that I'm doing. Like freelancing, like running my own business, like it's a party of one. So
Yeah,
it's a party of one.
I feel
Yeah.
you. I
So
totally
I
feel
get
you.
that. That's hard. In business, like figuring out, that's another difficult thing, is like learning how to talk to people and different kinds of people from different places, and not take things personally, because business is never personal unless it is. Um, and like really seeing things as what they are and like how they're being said, you know, taking things literally. That's hard in business because
I
we're
was gonna say,
human, right?
yes, we're human. So
We're
when
human. There's emotion.
you literally just said take without taking things personal unless it's personal. Like, what does that mean to you?
Um, if there's something that is going on in business, whether it's with friendships or your partner, even outside of business, relationships, period, if there's someone who's not communicating something that they should be because they have a feeling about something that's happened, that gets held on, and then other things and other events add on to their own feelings. So like communication is difficult because you don't know, you may think that somebody's saying things straightforward, but in their own mind they're saying something because of what they think about everything else that happened beforehand. So like taking things literally for what it is all we can do until we learn to communicate with people properly and like professionally enough. Like whether they're your friends or family, it should still be like professional, meaning don't lead with your emotions, but allowing like your emotions to tell you like, okay, I feel something about this. How can I explain this in a respectable way so we can move forward? But that's hard because we're human and everybody is in a different page in their life. I think what I love about myself is that I tried to read the room. Like I'll just sit there and try to read the room. Not always, because sometimes I'm human too. I get the best of my stuff, but like learning to read the room and like how I'm going to respond has been like something that I've learned recently throughout the years. It's just like relationships in life or business, no matter what, like I'm able to lead the right way. I'm able to like walk in the right direction instead of going in a whirlwind because I feel something, but I didn't see things for what they were. Communication is key. And it's
so
hard.
key. It's so key. I think you said that so well, like even with the personal relationships, like that is just, it's so true because even in business things, you will work with somebody so closely, you will start taking things personal if things aren't done or whatever it may be, right? So I totally get it. I've been in many different situations, whether it's partnerships or just working with new people. So believe me, I definitely know. But I wanted to talk about a couple other things. You know, when it comes to building that team, right? Like the team around you, like what do you feel like someone needs, right? Like whether it's yourself or someone outside of you, if you're working with a new client, what I guess are maybe top three things that you feel like every business needs? I know it's like a thinker.
That's a good question though, because it's really in depth. So what is it that three things that people need in business?
Mm-hmm.
You definitely need a systemized organization of your day, like not even of the day itself. How are you going? What's your routine? A routine is really important. And sometimes my routine changes. Like sometimes I work really well in the morning, like, and I get like, when I say early, I mean, waking up at 4 or 5 randomly and just writing because it's on my head and then going back to sleep because that's reality. And then waking back up later and doing a little bit more work if I feel creative or just like learning what that work, how that is for me. So, okay, if I want to work in the morning, then that's what the rest of my day is going to look like. So having an organization and a routine to your day, because the days that I don't work early in the morning and I work later in the afternoon, I know how those days are worked out and mapped out. So that just helps a lot because I'm aware of like how I work best and what works best for me to get things done. So being self-aware.
So that organization would be one.
Yes, organization to your day. How are you going to map it out? What does it look like? Being self-aware could be my second tip too, because that involves you knowing what you're good at, what your strengths and your weaknesses are. If I want to run a business, right? We talked about this. Like I've done that before where I've had a client where I said, I can do this, but like it's going to take up so much of my time and somebody else could do it. So I'm going to pay someone to do what this job is. So that way I can get more clients now. I'm learning that my strength is I know how to get clients or where to get them from if I wanted more to tackle. Okay, so now I have somebody behind me that can work on this. So being self-aware, knowing my strengths, or just doing things on my own, that's fine too. But I can't take my own photos all the time. So I know I need to hire a photographer. If I'm in aesthetics and I'm a hairstylist, I don't know how to take photos or like the right lighting because you could have really good hair. You could style your ass off. But if the pictures look like junk, I'm not going to go to you. So just being self-aware, right? That's 2. Number 3 thing that you need in business, like your ultimate goal. Like you got to know like what it is that your ultimate goal is. Like what if you're super happy in life, right? or if you don't know, like that becomes with self-awareness too, I think, like knowing what makes you happy, what you're working for. Like you could work every single day if you wanted and then be fine with a 2-week vacation. If that's what makes you happy, cool, do that. But having organization to your business, your routine, being self-aware, and like knowing exactly why you're doing what you're doing, or why you're offering services and products to people. Like when I started having consult calls with clients in the beginning, it was so fun. I didn't realize how good it felt to have people say, "Damn, Dayna, like I'm getting goosebumps. Like, damn, Dayna, I didn't know what I was doing." And I feel so confident now. Like I was so confused because that's always what I heard on consult calls. Like, was okay, I know I need to be on social media. I don't know what to do. Like, I know like what this stuff is, like reels and videos and like but I don't know what to do. So like the feeling of like hearing them say, "Damn, I love this," or like that was a great idea, or let's implement that, like that's working so well, like that feels so good. And like honestly, that feels really good, and I want to do it for more people. So
yeah, I love it. No, I love those tips. And I would probably agree with all of them because I mean, there's so many. Listen, we had one of my friends on here. Her name is Paris Jackson. She has a book out called "Bring Out the Boss in You," and it's a 10-step guide to like running your online business. And she gave like some similar tips of having a goal and just being like the self-aware thing, right? But I think a lot of people negate over that organizational one because that is so huge. Just being able to, whether it's organize your day or just organize like just your work schedule, like it's so much, like learning how to prioritize things is, I think, is a big one when you have a big workload. Okay, I have a fun question now, right? Because because this is kind of fun. So if you could build your dream team, like if you had a team of like a manager or like just you know what I mean, like if you could build a dream team of any celebrity, right? Whether that's somebody's manager, like whether you want like Justin Bieber's manager or something like that. Like if you could build a dream team, who would it be? I'll give mine and you can give yours.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so I'll go first. Okay. Okay, so I think first person on my team is I need Kris Jenner. Period.
Ooh, that's a good one.
You know what I'm saying?
That's a good one.
Listen,
her whole family.
The fact
elevated
skill,
because of her.
Man, the skill level of that woman to be able to find something for each daughter and son who doesn't really want to do anything, to be able to find something for them and help them excel at it and enter so many different realms of business. You know what I mean? Like it's amazing because one, the beauty market, as we know, is crazy, but Kris Jenner is just on my team. Let me just say that. And I think, I think everyone here knows why. Yeah. Somebody else on my team. Let me think. Okay. If I'm going like PR, I'm probably gonna go for like maybe Beyonce's publicist because she can hide anything. I don't know. Like, come on now. Like, she can hide any of
Beyonce's business.
None, unless they want us to. You know what I mean? Or some celebrity talks like Tiffany Haddish, right? Yeah, so probably her. And then let me think, because I'm gonna need a lawyer for sure with all this going on. I'm gonna need a good one. Who has a really great lawyer? I'm just like trying to think. Like, yeah, because I got a great manager, I have a good publicist, so we're like on the roll. We're making money for sure. So that's what I said. Like, I definitely need a lawyer. Who has a great lawyer that's like getting them out of trouble at all points in time, and like always saving their money. Oh my gosh,
Chris Brown's lawyer, yeah.
I mean, she definitely gets him out of trouble. That man hasn't done jail time for a thing.
Clean up his image a little bit. A little bit.
Okay. And you know, it always seems like he owns everything that he does. Maybe because, you know, he does write, and I don't know, but I'm sure he has other producers around him, but I never hear any money issues with him. I've never heard him ever like have money issues. Um, like you hear of a lot of other artists. So yeah, maybe I'll take Chris Brown's lawyer. If anything were to ever happen, I feel like she could handle it. I feel like he has a female lawyer. I believe she's a female lawyer. Yeah. Okay. Now your turn.
I totally thought of this in the more like, how can they support me as like who they are, right? I don't even think of like publicist lawyer like that. First person I thought it was Diddy for like motivation, strategy, pump up, like
Get it.
connections.
That's a good one.
And this was just for my heart. I need Janae Aiko like around me just for the vibes, for the music, for the singing. Like, just sing to me, babe. Just sing to me. And then
I love it.
the third person I thought of, who was it? Who was on my mind? Karen Civil.
Karen Civil. Okay.
Karen Civil, just because she's just a badass. Like, you don't know like who she's exactly helping unless you like really look into it, but she's everywhere. Right. She's everywhere. I need her on my team.
I think back in the day, we knew a little bit more about what she was doing because she was more vocal about it. Nowadays, I'm not sure what Karen does, but I assume she's still doing a lot of like things like, you know, but even bigger, right? So yeah, I don't know. I don't keep up with her anymore, but I definitely respect her, Karen. And I've met her before, and she was like really nice when I met her. So I think that's a good team. I think you got a good team there. Yeah. Okay. We're moving along. I like this. So since we are talking about like, you know, you need the motivation and all the type of stuff. Speaking of Diddy is probably one of the best marketeers out there, right? Diddy will promote anything that has his name, handwritten signature on it. Okay,
from his name sells. Yeah. What was that show that he had with the singing group? What was that called back in the day? Making the Band. Like, yeah. I remember faces, but like we all remember more of like the things that he said. And so it was him who sold the show. Like, we were like, okay, what is he going to say now to the scene? What is he going to make them do? How is he going to like push them? Like, what is it? And it was always so wild. So yeah,
always
his personality like sells everything.
Yes. I think his latest right now, I feel like it's DeLeon and Ciroc, whatever he's doing. I know he's even put his sons in the campaigns. And now his new thing is his Club Love, because he's Brother Love now, right? So it's so interesting, like you said, because it is his name. It is his brand. Like, I think when he said he started Bad Boy, he didn't want to be the rough guys, you know? Like, he was like, me and my guys were the flashy. We had furs. Like, if you walked into Bad Boy, you know what I mean? You felt like you were walking into money. And he continues to exude that type of luxury at every point in his life. Like, every campaign he has, he exudes that type of luxury. And that is definitely something to aspire to do and to have, right? Like, he's definitely an aspirational type of person. Like, every day he gets on, his Fuck It Fridays are always inspirational. Diddy is definitely one of those guys. Can you think of another person, whether celebrity or just a brand, that is similar to that, where it's like they exude, you know, they exude aspiration, right? Like, you want to do what they're doing, go where they're going. Like, can you think of a campaign that recently caught your eye in that way? Because I know we both look at campaigns, whether it's billboards or commercials or things on our Instagram, and we're judging them, you know what I mean? Good or bad. But, you know, have you seen one recently where you're just kind of like, oh, that was really clever. Like, I really like that.
So for me, when I look at businesses, I look at like how they're marketing their brands, and that's so appealing to me. Because I randomly was just thinking, first popped to mind, Nicole Lionel, not Nicole Lionel, but she's amazing too.
Nicole Richie?
Lily's Closet, Shop Lily's Closet. So it's like a clothing brand, and so this woman, who owns the brand, is like based out of Texas, and her brand has just been something that has been on Instagram, online for so long. So just like it's aspirational. Like, again, I think like we spoke about earlier, when you watch an artist from the beginning of their career, when they first start, you're like running with them and you like fully support it. So like with that brand, I've been watching them like grow for so long. So like now seeing her blossom into this huge warehouse, that's aspirational to me, because I feel like that's the level of entrepreneur that I would be, right? I'm not at the level of Diddy yet. I don't have those connections yet, but like as an up and coming entrepreneur, like running a business on your own, whether it's a physical store or like selling products and services, like seeing other entrepreneurs like in their field just like really do it for me.
Yeah.
Numbers and just like they're normal people. You know what I mean?
Right.
They're just an everyday person who just doesn't stop.
No, I love that, because I agree with that, right? Like, I think that's what social media has helped. Like, I know somebody said it the other day, and it's so true. Like, social media, yeah, it's great for pretty pictures, but it's literally, if you're not selling something, you know what I mean? If you're like, and
You're
really it's
missing
about,
out. You're really just missing out.
Really, if you're not selling something, it's like, why? Like, why even do social media at that point? Like, I know this guy, I know he was saying that. He was like, I'm not on social media, I don't sell anything. And I was like, but I mean, some people just use it to connect. And he was like, yeah, but I connect with people in real life. And I'm like, okay. But you know, like it's true though. Like, if you're not selling something, or if you're not promoting whatever it is, like, it's like, why are you on social media? So I don't know. It's really interesting. Like, when I think of campaigns, ones to just like remember, obviously you think of a lot of big brand ones, right? I think some of the best marketing campaigns are insurance campaigns. Like, they put so much money into insurance campaigns, whether it's Allstate, whether it's Aflac, or like, you remember them. Like,
Progressive.
yeah, like they are
Geico.
so stuck in your head. Like, you can't get them out. It's like those are some of the most memorable marketing campaigns out there. Um, you know, when I switch and turn to kind of music, and I think of who does a really good job at marketing their music, promoting their music. When I think, obviously, I think of Drake, right? Drake is doing a great job. Recently, Drake was spotted in Dodger Stadium with a woman who happens to be, I thought it was really interesting, who happened to be like the mother of a, a young basketball player who plays with LeBron's son, right? Like, I was like, wow, that is very intermingled, right? But what I thought was really cool is I kept seeing these memes where they were like, Drake is so smart. He's promoting like Loverboy. Like, what is his thing called? What is his album called? Forever Loverboy, whatever it's called. And they were like, only a lover boy is shutting down Dodger Stadium to do a date. Like, this man, he's just so smart, right? Like, Drake just does it in the right way. Like, even with, I think, his last album or whatever that project was, where he gave out money. I can't even think of the song. I'm going blank. Like, and we all love Drake. We've been listening to Drake forever, and I can't think of a damn song at this point. It's so crazy. But I just think he does such a great job at, his image is clean, right? Like, I think he was scared at one point whenever he had that kid that with, whenever he had his son. And I think he was a little scared of how his image would look to people, because he's supposed to be this clean cut guy. But Drake, you like what you like, and it's okay. You know what I mean? Like, we know you like models with big butts, and that's okay. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like everything else, like his image is just, he can, literally anybody can attach themselves to him and it's going to sell. Whether it's Nike or it's Jordan or it's, Chips Ahoy. They would sell out if Drake put his face on Chips Ahoy. It would be Chips Ahoy would
It
be
would
back
be
in
a
style.
different, yeah, it totally would be. I mean, it would be. But
like it's lit.
looking, because that goes back to like Diddy, Drake, like these are celebrities that have made names for themselves because of who they are. And
Right.
Marketing is fun in that way. Like, if I'm a regular business owner, right, just to give like some tips and stuff, like how I think about it, like the biggest thing that I've loved helping people with is just thinking of their content. Like, what are they going to help people with? Like, if I do lashes and eyebrows, okay, so I don't know how to get people in my door. Okay, well, first ask yourself, what would they be asking you? What are some frequently asked questions? How much does it cost? How do I get there? Where are you at? What are your hours? What's your office? What are your rules? That's a whole bunch of content already that you can write down. And then now, because you've answered it, when people are on your page randomly typing in the city they live in plus slashes, and they find your page, they're like, oh wow, she's super intentional. She really answered all these questions for me. Like, she's trustworthy. And then your art is on point. Like, just thinking of, okay, you could sell donuts. What type of people that buy donuts are going to be asking, like, what do they want to see? They want to see the glaze on the top of the donut. They want to see you with a video opening of the donut. What does it look inside? What does your venue look like? Let them feel at home before they get there. They're more inclined to get there. Like, for me, I love going to restaurants, right? But before I go to the restaurant, if I've never been there before, I'm on Yelp at pictures. What does the inside look like? What does the outside look like? What does
You do.
So I'm comfortable before I get there. I'm like, all right, cool. I got it. Check out their Instagram, their social media. Like, what is the vibe? So I can prep myself. And I'm gonna go because they had it already set up for me. So, like, little tip would just be, first ask yourself, like, if I'm gonna buy the product that I'm selling, or if somebody's gonna buy the product that I'm selling, let me help them make it easy to answer that question and want to buy by answering questions that they have. Like, just start with that. And so
I love that. Give them tips, Dayna. Let me tell y'all, Dayna's dropping some gems for you guys. No, I love that, because it is sometimes it's the simple answers. It like, you know what I mean? Sometimes you just have to ask yourself those questions because you already have the answer. Like, especially if you're doing your business or if it's something you want to do, like, you already have those answers. Everything, like when they say you have everything you need, the power is within you. It is so true. Sometimes you just need that spark. Sometimes you just need that push. You just need someone like yourself to be like, okay, so what does that look like? Or what is that, what's that smell like? Whatever it is, you just need someone to ask you the right questions sometimes. Like, I know that's a big thing when you're working with a new client, right? Like, I know when I'm working with a new client, it is all about the question you ask, because they might answer it one way, and then the next time you ask it, like, you ask it just in a different way, and they're like, oh, I really do like it like that. Like, I don't know. It's so interesting, right? Like, you have all the answers, truly. Like, within you, I say this to myself all the time. Like, Leah, don't be confused. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you have the answer. You just need to look within, like, ask yourself the right question. You know what I mean? So you can be honest with yourself and answer. So
to add to that,
yeah.
To add to that, the biggest word for me that I had to get through was overwhelm. Right? So, like, procrastination, I don't want to do something because I'm overwhelmed at what needs to get done. I'm overwhelmed because I don't know what I need to do. I know it's a lot, and I'm gonna, like, there's so much for me to do. I'm never gonna get there. It's just so overwhelming. So I stop myself and I'm like, oh, I need to avoid it. So, like, the overwhelm word has helped me a lot, because now, to help yourself, right? I'm just like, all right, cool. Everything I have is within. Why am I overwhelmed? Okay, because I know it's going to take a lot. There's a lot that I need to do. All right, what is the part that's a lot? Well, I know I need to organize my business. I need to figure out where I'm going to get them from. What am I going to do? All right, write all that down. What am I going to sell? Then breaking things down literally has, like, just peeling back the layers, answer more questions. And it doesn't all happen at once. It totally happens at different times, because sometimes you want to do it, sometimes you don't. But honestly, like, just sitting myself down to say, like I said earlier in this episode, like, organizing my day and prioritizing is the most difficult, because it's not writing it down that's hard, it's sitting down to write it down that's hard, because I'm human and sometimes I don't want to do it. I really don't. But because I love what I'm doing and I love the end outcome, and I know that when it's done I feel good about it, and I get down and I start writing things. So, like, just peeling back the layer of, like, okay, if I need to make this much this month and I sell lashes, or I do lashes as a service, how many clients do I need? All right, cool. So to get more clients, like, what do I need to put out there? What type of content? Do I do reels, posts?
Right.
What are they going to be about? Start, like, what I'll typically do is I'll start just brainstorming, right? So when I'm in, like, okay, what do I need to create? I start looking at hashtags, right? Looking at hashtags, what are people posting? And then put a folder and I'll save it, like, literally in a folder called create, for different clients, right? I'll save all that content as inspiration. So I know, all right, cool. This is a good way that they answered this question. I like that idea. I'll do that later. So now you're just collecting. And so now when I'm overwhelmed with the step of creating content, I can't be because I have this whole folder of content that I could create in my own way. So like, that's how I help myself. And I just get into like batching, right? It's called batching in marketing, when you just batch your days.
Right.
You don't want to take a whole bunch of pictures every single day. It's too much to do your hair, your makeup, get your outfit done. So you're like, all right, cool. Monday, I'm taking a bunch of pictures. So you do your makeup once, you do your hair once, and you just change different outfits, take photos, get a photographer, that type of thing. Or like the next day, you'll sit down and do what I said. All right, if I need content ideas for the next month for my clients or myself, let me look at my hashtags. Let me look at the city I'm in. Like, who are the top lash artists in the area? Like, what are they selling? What do the graphics look like? Can I do that on my own? Do I need to hire somebody?
Right.
It's really fast because I'm really excited about what I do. And that's that. Like,
wait, you said you have a client? You said you have a lash
what I said
client
was
right now?
I talk really fast because I'm really excited about what I do. So that's what I was saying. But yeah, I've worked with lash artists before. I love working in the beauty industry because that's what I love. But I've worked in different industries. I've worked with a junk removal company before. Just so many different industries that has me think of content in different ways and like really solidified with what it is that I do like and what I don't like. But you have to test it. And that's part of procrastination that it has to be perfect though. And you're like, well, no, it doesn't, because even if it's bad, you won't know it's bad if nobody tells you it's bad.
Right.
Or you can physically see, if I make this piece of content that shows a picture that looks bland or it's blurry, but the next picture that looks just like it, but it's a different angle and it has more sharper images and you can see things clearly, that one did really well. Well, then now I can compare the two. But if I put content out, I can't compare what's working, what's not working. So now I'm building. Now I'm moving because I'm being consistent and I'm putting content out, even if it's not perfect. So that's the deal, girl. You said that. Like, consistency is one of the most important things, and it's so true because you can't grow if you don't keep going, and you'll get farther faster if you're more consistent with your day. So yeah, I struggle with that too, but that's the truth.
We're working on it.
We'll change it. We'll change it.
For sure. No, and I think, like you said, working on it, you can't be good at something if you don't work on it. So yeah, I totally agree with that. Okay, so before we wrap up, is there anything else, because you have been giving them dropping gems all this whole podcast? So is there anything else you want to leave our listeners with before we jump out of here?
Sure. A reminder that you should always try to figure out what your strengths and your weaknesses are, so that way you can be happy. I can't be happy with my life and my business if I don't take advantage of what I know I'm good at and I know I'm not. So if you're not good at something, either learn it yourself or hire someone to do it for you. There is YouTube University. There are courses. There are ebooks. I have some. So I'm on my personal page is In a Day's Time. My business page is Her Confidence Co. So CO, Her Confidence Co. or .co. And that's where like my marketing team and my marketing projects are. So I have ebooks there. I offer consulting. So if you wanted to sit down and talk about like what type of branding help you need, if you're like, hey, I need content, I don't know what to post, I'll sit down and give you a game plan. Or we could talk about if you need something of a larger project, I could talk about strategies. So that's just what I want to end on. It's just learning what your strengths are. Do it yourself because you could learn it and pay somebody to do it for you, which is always good because I feel like you don't always need to know every aspect of your business. But then when you realize you don't want to do it or you're not as good or somebody else is better at it than you, hire them. You're going to be so much happier because now you can focus on what you're really good at. So be self-aware and really look at yourself in the mirror to see what you're good at and what you're not, and fill in the pieces.
Yes, have a goal. That was that third one. Have that goal. Yeah. No, I love it. Thank you so much, Dayna. I think this was such an informative podcast and this was awesome. But I appreciate you for coming on. Thank you so much
for having me.
Of course. You guys make sure you follow Dayna. It's at In a Day's Time. In a Day's Time. That's one word. You guys make sure you follow her. on social media. She's doing her thing. There you can find her other business pages. So yeah, tap in, guys. And thank you again for tuning in on another Tuesday or whatever day of the week you're listening to this podcast. I thank you. Dayna thanks you. High Thoughts Podcast thanks you. And you guys tune in every Tuesday. Peace.
Bye.
Bye, Dayna.
Bye.